Hello traders, good week, Vladimir here. This is the live market weekly review for the week starting on 3rd of July until the 7th of July. This week I uploaded a bit later due to some personal things, but there are many things to cover, so let's begin. Let's start with the fundamental view. This week is busy. It started with during casein manufacturing PMI during the night, which turned to be positive above 50 and boosted up the yen pairs and the Pacific pairs. It continued with the manufacturing PMI in Britain, which turned to be not that good to date. It continued with ISM manufacturing PMI, which surprised in the US, and there we go to the statement in Australia the night between today to tomorrow. Construction PMI in Britain. Today there will be a day off in the US, so expect some low volatility. And on Wednesday, FOMC meetings. All the eyes to that. Traders are looking to see if the Fed is able to provide them something or not yet. Then we'll continue with ADP report to be published on Thursday, and during this Friday we get the non-farm payrolls news to be released and the unemployment rate as well. Then the Fed will publish its monetary policy report. So this week is all about the Fed. Now, why the market is so curious about what the Fed will or will not announce? Again, cash rates. US were the only one among all the central banks to raise the rates a few times in a row, and everyone is curious, will they be able to continue the pace or not? The doubts currently are about their ability to increase more. Doubts are very, very high and very big, of course, especially due to the fact that the US are the only ones doing that a few times in a row, and they don't want to open this such serious gap between all the other pairs and have its own negative impact. So most likely the Fed will do nothing. The Fed will not hint for any coming rates hikes again, but the traders are actually interested to hear what's about to come for future, and every word counts from whatever the Fed will say. So what are we going to trade? Let's start with the New Zealandian yen, which is very, very, very interesting. Still holding the range here, and it's holding pretty strong. This is a 61.8 expansion, which we are almost there by the point. You can see that next to the top of the range. So we are after sales here. There is a divergence forming. Daily chart cycle is 161.8 of this cycle. Let's draw the lines here. Okay, and if we drop lower to the 4-hour chart, we can see this divergence again here and the extreme forming here, right? And if we drop to the 4-hour chart, we get confirmations by triple cycle formed here and triple cycle on the last leg, and as well, of course, together with this, right, on the big view as well. So that all brings us to the great level for sales. What we need to get, that's false breaks with convergences. Currently, we got one right here. Okay, that was the last place we got at. We got a convergence idea, but this one did not hold. Retraced higher and broke this high. So this convergence was not relevant. The next one will probably be. And what we are looking at right now is this last cycle. Break below it, hold below it, break below this area, retrace, and we can go and look for sales. Now, if we take a look on the view of crystal ball, we understand that we have a massive area right here on the daily, 4-hour and a 1 hour chart, which, well, it's currently slightly higher, but we still fight around this area right here. Okay, that's where it brings it such a powerful level. In terms of date, we don't have nothing too powerful at this stage. We have only the second and fourth as middle class, but the coming period, and by the end of the week, is 9 and 11, and that they are extremely powerful. So there is a very, very, very good chance that what the New Zealand yen would actually do right now is dance around here, rebuild its false breaks, bring us to the trendline breakout, retrace, and we are going for a fall down. This one is definitely to follow. It's extremely interesting opportunity from my point of view. And that brings me to the New Zealandian dollar, which I want this bottom to be broken in order to gain this convergence right here. Okay? And again, why? Because the weekly chart, we are still facing some kind of a ranging pattern right here, right? We're still on the top of it. On a daily cycle, though, we have this movement, straight movement, which is broken down to cycle on the 4 hour chart with a divergence. And that's a continuing divergence with 4 tops in a row. And that's what makes it so powerful. Now, this trend line is broken currently, and you can see that the pair is fighting here, right? And this level is actually a great level to look to trade. Why? For the reason that the first move down was broken into triple cycle or a special cycle, name it as you want, but this is a very powerful sign. So if we can get something like that, it would be a great opportunity to look for the possible sells versus this top. And as long as this top holds, we are after possible sells. If this top does not hold, what we are doing is we are rewatching for another false break. Okay, so false break on top, lower lows, retrace, and sells. The idea remains the same. Okay, the levels are great, the setups are great. What we are looking right now, that's the opportunities to join. Aussie Kiwi, again by ideal, I expect this pair to make a final push down to 103 zone and make the fly. Not by ideal. We got a false break. We need to break above this area. Retracing 2 waves. Okay, breaking above this trend line, and we are after buys. That would be our case as long as this low holds. We need to break above this high, and then buy retraces. As long as that didn't happen, don't rush to buy. And there is a good chance it will happen that just to complete this kind of cycle, create 2 waves for us as a correction, break, and fly. Australian dollar by itself, also very interesting pair, and you know my view for the very long run. I expect that to rally. We were talking about that many times. Currently what this pair has, that's double up here and double up here. They both are in great level, so every pullback in 2 waves, and we can go and look for buys as long as this trend line holds. So the closer we get there, the better the conditions would be for buys for us. Okay? And that could be done on any of the time frames, of course. The next one on the list, dollar yen, which surprised me, to be honest, because it provided an amazing sell confirmation during Friday, last Friday, right here. That was classical technical setup, turning around with the divergence. It was all set and ready for this, and boom, the gap looked good at the beginning, but again it turned up and went higher from here, which means that this convergence did not hold. But, and here comes the but, we do still trading around and inside this triangle, which means there is a very good chance we're going to get inside this triangle again. For longer run, we will have to see and we will have to see where this pair is going to stop and provide us next opportunities. Currently, we don't have really good opportunities to look to rejoin. Divergences are broken. It's not holding. It's not doing nothing for us. So beside the triangle, there are nothing else forming yet and completed yet. Therefore, there is a good chance that this is also a breakout that will lead us for a possible 61A movement of this, which means the previous highs again, okay? Or at least for a full duplication of that. And you can see where it brings us to 115 level at least. So in that scenario, that means we are after buys, and as long as the divergence and false break didn't happen, we have this trend line to follow. Every pullback with bullish divergence should provide the opportunity to continue to the upside, okay? As long as we don't have false breaks completed with convergence, which means break inside lower lows. As long as it didn't happen, we can't short anymore right now, and we shouldn't. And we switch to the buys, and I'm talking about 4-hour and 1-hour chart, of course. That's the pairs where it could happen. As long as it didn't happen, buy retraces while the last low hold is basically not a bad idea. And that brings me to the pound yen, which is continuing its movement to the upside, and I would expect this pair, well, I don't see any reason why it would stop, okay? That's the case here, and I believe we are going to the 150 area. Now this would be the magnet zone here, okay? No signs currently against us, which means we are good to continue. Every drop down, the lower the better, should be a buy opportunity for us to try and to join this beautiful uptrend developing. Now, the fundamental events this week should be contributing to that. If we look at a crystal ball, we discover we have some great zones. One of them is here, next one is a bit lower. 7 on the 4-hour chart, one is here, but these are actually the most interesting ones. The lower we get, the better the zones we get, the better the buy decision will be further on to take us to the, you can see, until where potentially 7th, which is Friday, right? With non-farm payrolls at least. Now we have the 2nd, yes, but there are actually no reasons to call a stop. We got this drop on the 2nd as suggested, right here, but now it continues, and it might continue all the way to the next levels. And that's why I say every drop down we have should be as a buy opportunity for us. Euro versus the Kiwi, a pair that started to fly on last week, and I expect as long as this low holds, we are yet after buys. We got wave number 1. Every pushback lower should bring us to look for buy opportunities again. Let's have a look on crystal ball for confirmations, and this one got a very good call for us in terms of statistics and predictor. We have the level, the channel isn't really yet with us, and the levels are powerful. The dates are very good for us. We have 3rd and 6th. This is the entire range for possible buys. That's the zone. If we can get here or one lower, it should be a wonderful buy opportunity for us to continue to look for buys. Do not blindly buy because it reached a level, but if it does, for example, and then breaks above trend lines, we can expect that to continue and provide us the next very interesting movements. Next one on the list, CAD versus the franc, rallied and reaching the levels that we wanted. We wanted it above 0.74. We got it here. There is a good chance that between 0.74 to 0.7450, which is this trend line, we're gonna start some slowdown, correction, probably lower, and again a rally. So those of you who missed the train to the upside, look for every double move down or triple move down, bullish hidden divergence. So basically something like that. This is our zone. Okay, this is what we are looking at. Bullish divergence to 4 here, and we are looking to continue and go higher. Pound New Zealandian, same story like the Euro New Zealandian. As long as the bottom holds, I believe this bullish hidden divergence should continue to the upside. Now, this could be interrupted only if this low is broken. As long as it's not broken, we are after buys. We got a triple cycle to the upside, which is seen right here. And now we need to complete double cycle. 1, 2, 3. We need to complete this double cycle. If we do, this would be our area right here to go and look for the buys. Let's have a look on the crystal ball as a confirmation zone for us. We got inside the channel again. We are holding the levels. Good time for bottoms is the 3rd and the 4th, which means these very days, and the 7th. We want to see this holding here and from there flying to the upside. Pound dollar. Well, this actually does not have any specific classical setup yet, but this pair had the special cycle movement, which means as long as this bottom holds, we are good to go. Oh, this was the last rally. We are good to go with double cycle corrections and further move to the upside. According to weekly cycle and the daily cycle, there is a good chance we are about to continue. This one does not have any classical setup, as I said, so we need to wait for one. But here is a pair that does, and this is the dollar versus the franc. We got a first movement down, and we are now bouncing from the, well, not exactly, but around the 161.8 zone. If we measure that deeper, that means we are on the duplication area, right? One move, range, second move looks really good. Beautiful false break forming, beautiful divergence forming on a 4-hour chart. And the 1-hour chart, what we need to get is simply triple or special cycle movement, which means, in other words, 1, 2, 3. If we do, 2 waves pull back and a breakout, and we have our entry. All that is relevant as long as the last low holds, because if it doesn't, we go to the 161.8 expansion, which is around 0.93, 0.92, where from, again, I expect that to fly to the upside. So that's another great pair we are looking at. It looks good and might provide great opportunities for us. Euro versus the pound does not have anything from my point of view. I would not be surprised if we get one more high. I'd say no more, because there is no more to be said here. CAD continuing its rally much higher than expected. There is currently nothing against us, not weekly, not daily, so buy retraces. It continues to be the direction, and that's actually relevant for all the yens, as you can see. And silver and gold hopefully taking us to the desired level. You know how much I want for silver, the 15 zone, right? That's my dreamy area, because we might get some monster right there. Take a look. Okay. Here we go. Oh, sorry. We already measured that. That's the next one. That's a monster right here. And if we can't get there, we are looking for massive buys. Stay tuned. Indices. Sorry, by the way, gold is kind of the same. Okay. We want this move down to bring us to the levels until the next divergence is forming. As long as it didn't, there's nothing to do. And basically, it's kind of following the silver principle. So, indices. Nasdaq continues its move down, and as we said, as long as we hold the trend line and lower lows, bearish pressure is on. And for S&P, it starts to be interesting as well. We broke below this range, right? And it seems that this trend line right now is holding, and this beautiful lower lows also continue. Which brings me to the idea that as long as this top holds, sells starts to be relevant and interesting. We want that to break below this low. Let's mark it here. To complete a false break, break below the last low, make a smaller retrace, and break out again would lead us for a good call for sales. Sugar, beautiful sugar, which bounced a bit higher than wanted, and that's what becomes very tricky here. You see that? That would be the ideal zone, of course. 12, 11, right? But it didn't. So what it does right now, it's bringing us the move to the upside. And what I want to see, same story like almost always. Double or triple cycle to the upside and retraces. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. And we can go and start to build up the buy positions. It looks very promising, especially if we go for the further contract to be ended in October. It looks good, it behaves good, it provides a great opportunity. And one more that reached the level we wanted and looks like bouncing from there. That's the dollar versus the ILS. Not everyone have it, of course, but those of you who do, that's a great opportunity to trade these double cycles with bullish divergence on a weekly chart. I expect the 345 up to 350 to be a finishing zone before the rally. That's all. That's our highlights and the most interesting things for today. There are a lot for this week, of course, not for today. There are a lot there, so watch them out, guys, and trade them. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. I wish you a wonderful week to trade, and I'll see you again on next weekend. Yours, Vladimir.